Good morning, my miners. How are you all doing this FA morning? Hope you are all doing well and fantastic wherever you guys are. Good freaking morning. Guys, so today we have a couple of updates that we're going to go over. One, the new E300 software, firmware, rips, like, pretty well. And was able to tune it into a pretty decent, wattage to hash ratio, even better than I was able to show y'all in the last video, and as well as talk about some upcoming hardware coming out, as well as my mining plans that, well, have to change. So let's dig in. Of course, we're talking about the E300 and in specifically the 14 gigahash model, which is the VU35P. Which you can get a coupon code down in the description below for $125 off using the code Mykel125. All caps, Mykel125. Now, you can choose from the basic fan setup as well as the Noctua fans if you were going to really push your E300s with the newer firmware and like go for the full 700 millivolts, as well as going for 700 plus on the core. I would recommend the original 6,000 RPM fans, just due to the fact that they will do better for cooling. They're not insanely loud if they're at full tilt. Power supply fans can be louder, that's for sure. But that's my personal opinion. I'd get the 6,000 RPM version. Now, for 14 gigahashes, you get about 500 watts. You know, give or take. After everything is said and done, you get around 500 watts. You can push it to like 505, 508 and get about 15 gigahashes. This person was actually able to push. They're running the newer firmware and they have 600 on the core. VCC reads a little bit lower because there's no overclock on the RAM, so there's no need to use all of the power. So they're probably actually pushing the 700 millivolts or a little less on this one. But they are achieving 5.57 per board with no errors on the first two. The last one has a little bit of errors. And then he's getting about 16.72 gigahashes for 660 watts. So 660 watts, and he's getting 16.72 gigahashes. I was playing with the other one for a short amount of time before I was taking it to the farm and getting it ready to go to the farm. But I have a video coming out on Friday of showing you and going over like the clocks and everything like that. But I was actually able to tune it for 620 watts and achieving this literal exact same hash. I have full 700 on the core across all of them, but I'm pulling 620 watts as it was like currently running at these same clocks, same hash rates and clock speeds. Only things different was my voltages were lower. Depending on the board, I think FPGA 2, I was actually able to go 15 to 20 less on the core, like on the millivolts, than I was on the core. A good rule of thumb when you're running these, if you start at 650, you can kind of see where you can go up from there, and just 650 on the core and 650 on the VCC INT will give you a good accuracy, and you can start increasing your core by 5 or 10, and if you notice that you start getting an increased amount of errors, you can bump your core up by 5, or your voltage up by 5. So like I think it was FPGA 2, I was running 700 on the core clock, but I was actually running 600, I think 680 or 685 on the VCC INT. So I was actually able to run it a little bit less, and I was able to do that between a lot of them except for FPGA 0. That one was not as efficient as the other two, and it had to stay within like 5 millivolts from the same clocks as the core. So I think it's 695 was the final on the core for FPGA 0. But other than that, like, just running a stock 700, it rips, and you can push them a little bit harder than that. Temperatures were getting in like around 65 to 68 depending on how hot it was. The facility is definitely hotter than my well house, so clocks will probably change and come down a little bit more just to preserve the life of the FPGAs overall. Granted, they have a 90C cutoff. You don't ever want to get to that point, ever. But nonetheless, it was pretty fun testing out the new firmware and kind of seeing where it can borderline at. Interested to see how the new firmware will do at the facility with a little bit warmer temps than my well house. So we'll see how that plays out, and we'll adjust accordingly. We will also have a video coming out of how to upgrade your E300 from the older versions to the newer version by upgrading your back of your heat sinks. We'll be doing that to some of our older batches that we have at the farm. On that note, guys, I don't know if anybody else has seen this, but it looks like Bitmain is going to be getting into the Casper ASA game. The CryptoMykel KS3 is coming soon, guys. Anyone who guesses the price on their Twitter page will get a $10,000 coupon. So they're saying to guess the price. We don't know what it will be like. It looks like May 16th, the 19th are guessing the price. Flash sale deposits May 19th. And then the 26th rush purchase distribution is May 27th, and then shipping is in August. So you actually have quite a while before they actually get to ship. So August will be the shipping time, and we're still in May. But they will get 8.3 terahashes for 3,100 watts, which is absolutely like crazy. I was thinking they're probably going to be around 3,000 watts for it, but 3,100 watts for 8.3 terahashes on the KS3 from Bitmain. So we'll see how that comes to play, and will be coming out in August. But while we are on the topic of ASICs, I've been looking at prices of Bitcoin ASICs currently myself. And the reason is because, of course, my mining plan is having to change, kind of the point of that part of the video, but kind of seeing where they kind of lay at in price comparison compared to, you know, what I pay per kilowatt hour, which is around 8 cents after it's all said and done, between my EV rates, which is like 3 cents in the night, and then is around 5 to 6 cents during the day before like any fees or anything. So after it averages out plus fees, I'm about 7 to 8 cents on a good time. So looking at that, kind of deciding what's the best play on maybe a Bitcoin ASIC. Maybe I can run like an S19 J Pro or an X19 XP. I'm mainly looking at those because of the fact we can run them in low power mode and get a better performance out of them for maybe a little bit lower wattage to kind of help things out here. And the reason that is because I currently have a couple 1070s, some 1080s, 1660 Ti's, some 5600 XTs, as well as a 3060 Ti that I have all at my mother's house, where I've been keeping her house warm during the winter for basically free electricity. And I've been able to continuously mine flux with that at like a net positive for me, because it didn't cost me anything in electricity. Now, that being said, we are looking at potentially selling that house, so I have to pull those rigs from that place by the end of this month, which is May. So that being said, I'm either pulling them to the farm and paying farm rates, or I'm pulling them here home and I'm paying my home rates. And either way, it's not that my 1070s and my 1080s, like they aren't the best, right? you know, at 8 cents, my 1660 Ti, you know, this is kind of where it sits. It does okay. I probably won't get rid of my 1660 Ti. I actually have plans for that for like maybe my son's computer. But my 5600s, I'm gonna keep those. I'm gonna probably slam my 6700 XT in with that rig to kind of keep those all together. My 3060 Ti, I'll probably throw into the wife's PC and upgrade it from the 6700 XT that's in there now, and upgrade it into a NVIDIA card. So we'll see how that kind of comes into the play of things, as well as like my 1080s, my 1070s. I will probably decommission and sell them. I know I have one 1080 that I cannot sell because it has artifacting issues when you plug it into Windows, but I can mine on it literally just fine, and it's perfectly fine. So I know I'm not going to sell it, and I don't really want to keep it, so I will probably just give it away to someone in the community and let them have fun with it and do whatever it is that they want to do. Yeah, and I do have, of course, my A750. I'm looking at getting maybe a couple of these as well. I've been pretty lucky at seeing good deals for them. I'm not gonna tell you where, but eBay. Anyway, but give it a check and give them a look out. But I'm probably gonna get rid of my 1080s and my other 1070s and just decommission that rig altogether, because it just doesn't make much sense running it anymore and rolling over the funds from those cards into something that will initially make me more coins, in this case Bitcoin, in a monthly time than those cards can together. So that is kind of the mining plan that we got kind of going on here, and I'm currently trying to figure out the best option for me personally with what I have going on. So guys, I hope you all enjoyed this one. I hope you all have a good, fantastic rest of your day. Good morning, good evening, good night. Have a good one. Much love. Peace out. Stay mining, guys, and stay savage. We'll catch you all on the next one. Peace out.